everybody. This is your favorite podcast co-host, Tim Hackman.
And this is Rich Sigwald.
And we've been coming to you as all the WrestleManias for quite a while now. Probably going on, what are we going on? We're going on 2 years, I believe.
January, I think, would be our 2-year anniversary of being a podcast.
Yeah. And of course, if you've been following along since the beginning, you know, we were a blog before that, started during the pandemic under all the WrestleManias. And we really started this venture with the idea that we would watch and write and then record about all of the WrestleManias. And that's still a big part of what we do. We're up to number 29, I believe. So
number 30 would be our next one.
Yeah, so we're about 3/4 of the way through, and that's been a lot of fun. And we're going to, of course, continue to do that for WrestleManias past, present, and future. But in the meantime, you know, the scope of this podcast really has expanded beyond the WrestleManias to the point where we think it's time for a change of name and a change of brand. So that's what we wanted to talk to you about today. Rich, do you want to tell folks the new name of the podcast?
So, with Tim and I both being librarians of sort and us digging through old wrestling but also, you know, talking to the young talent that is out there too, running the indie circuits in the Mid-Atlantic, and then also with the 2 huge interviews that we're going to be putting out soon, we've changed our name starting in the new year to The Wrestling Archives.
Yeah. And we'll have a new website, Wrestling Archives, that's with an S.com. That's already up and live. It doesn't really go anywhere, but you can find it. And we will be slowly, you know, decommissioning all the WrestleMania sites and email addresses and all those sorts of things. But we'll make sure that you can get to our new stuff from there. And I think, you know, as Rich said, we've broadened out quite a bit. We're talking about things other than WWF, WWE, WrestleManias. We've gone into AWA, NWA, WCW, ECW, and I'm sure we'll dig into a few more of the territories and such. And then talking to scholars has been a big deal. You know, we had Dr. Mark Willett, we had Dr. Jess on, and then, of course, our great connection with Virginia Championship Wrestling and talking to some really just outstanding talents, both in front of and, you know, in the ring and behind the scenes.
Yeah, we're going to be talking. We've already talked with Jerry Stefanesis, the director of operations of VCW, you know, blah, 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 blah. But we're also going to be talking soon to the one, the only George Pantas, as he is probably the most famous person in wrestling you've never heard of, it seems like. That he has had his hands in everything, and he knows everybody, and he is a genuinely kind soul that has been a great friend to this podcast without you even talking to him or knowing. So we're excited to finally have him coming on the show to celebrate his retirement after 50 years in the wrestling business, starting off as just filming amateur footage on ringside at the Norfolk Scope to being backstage at like every huge wrestling event you can think of, multiple WrestleManias, different pay-per-views from WWE, I assume Starrcades. He's had to have been at Starrcades with his connections to Jim Crockett Promotions and his friendship with someone else that we are going to be releasing an interview of soon, starting, I think we're going to put it out on the 21st probably, and that is going to be the only David Crockett, wrestling royalty. Blessed us with an hour and a half of his time, and he was the kindest and most open person I think we've ever talked to about the wrestling business. And it was a pure joy to talk to him, and we are really excited to put that out for you soon.
Yeah, that episode was a lot of fun to record. You know, you never know somebody at that level, if they're going to be, you know, a little bit standoffish, a little bit bored with you before you even get started. And he was there for it. And I think you all will really enjoy the conversation. We'd love to have him back. We'd love to maybe watch a Starrcade and talk to him about it and his memories of it. He's got stories to burn. He shared some really good ones, some safe for work and some not so safe for work. He shared some thoughts on, current directions of AEW and Billy Corgan's NWA. So you'll have to tune into that for sure. That will definitely be out the week of Thanksgiving. We're finagling the date at the moment. And of course that will be sort of in anticipation of his appearance at that December second show with WCW and George's retirement. So we're super hyped for that one. But yeah, so the WrestlingArchives.com, I think it's a good name. It's not a taken name. That's always a hard one.
Yeah,
we bounced around a few other ideas. I think Lucha Librarians was a serious contender.
Yeah,
but we don't talk about much Lucha stuff, and it felt like cultural appropriation. So
yeah, a little bit, because we might have masks, but that's about it.
Yeah.
The other thing is just that, like, every clever podcast name based off of wrestling holds or something like that is taken. There's Fights and Tights, which is already taken. The Heat is taken. The Hot Tag is taken, which happens to be what our Facebook is called right now because we got scammed. But starting in the new year, that Facebook page will become the Wrestling Archives Facebook page. If you're already following our Facebook and saw that it turned into Hot Tag with Rich and Tim, don't worry, it'll become the new name as well. So just keep following, keep paying attention. We're going to try our best to keep just pumping out the great content for you guys. And I feel liberated by this name change already. We don't have to just stick to WrestleManias. We're not just going to be known as the people that talk about WrestleManias. I feel like our name, after we started branching away from WrestleManias, started becoming limiting our audience a bit. And I think being able to just call ourselves the Wrestling Archives is going to be a whole lot more opportunistic for us. And I think it's time.
Well, and I think, as people in the information industry, if you want to call it that, whatever you want to call it, sector, I don't know. Archives to me means a couple of things. It means preservation of history, and, keeping important primary documents and things for future generations for historical study. And it also means preservation of culture. And those are two big things that we're interested in on the show here. And part of the reason that we dig back through all these old shows, we don't want them to get lost to history. We want new folks to see them and experience them for themselves and really watch them with, for me, a lot of these I'm watching for the very first time. I don't have as much experience with the older NWA, WCW stuff as Rich does. So to me, a lot of this stuff is brand new and it's phenomenal. And so it's fun to talk about it and hopefully expose it to another crowd of folks who might not see it otherwise. So that's a big part of the mission of the archives, and that'll be the part of the mission of the Wrestling Archives. So.
Yeah, and it's important too, just because right now so much of that content is tied up by the WWE right now, and it's basically giving them a blank check to write the history of wrestling. And they're doing it, and they've got a bit of a bias to it, obviously, because they want to make themselves look good, as opposed to, some of the villainous stuff that we actually ended up talking to David Crockett about, with the Black Saturday escapades and stuff like that. So it's important for us that this name change happens, because wrestling and its history is an important topic to both of us. And to be able to, disconnect ourselves from seemingly an only WWE podcast and possibly a pro WWE podcast is important. And then just being able to tell these stories and seeing this stuff from a fresh viewpoint is going to be really good for us and hopefully really good to you.
Journalistic objectivity. I like it. Anyway, well, that's our big announcement. We're excited. Wrestling Archives, new content, new name coming early 2024, so keep an eye out for that. Keep an eye out for the remainder of our 2023 episodes, including David Crockett, including George Pantas. I think we're going to look at maybe a Capital Combat show with RoboCop, so we're excited about all of those and talking about them. Anything else you want to add, Rich?
God damn RoboCop. He's going to come and save the day. It's going to be great. RoboCop's going to be on the show. I promise. Not really, but yeah.
Well, maybe we can do our RoboCop impression.
This is RoboCop. I'm going to shoot you in the dick.
Wow, that was uncanny. It was like he was right here.
I know, you didn't see that coming. No, I don't have anything else to add except for this is really exciting, and I feel liberated. And loosey-goosey.
All right. Well, check it out, or RoboCop will shoot you in the dick. So I'm going to sign off. This is your co-host, Tim.
And this is Rich.
And we'll see you in the Wrestling Archives.
Alrighty. Bye-bye.